Heights Educational Group, educational resources to help reach your goals.
This podcast is brought to you by Silicon Valley High School, the world's fastest growing, video-based, self-paced, teacher-supported, fully accredited online school that's recommended by more than 96% of students. Take individual courses at just $95 each, or earn your high school diploma at any age. Check us out at svhs.co.
Welcome back. This is your host, Buffy Williams, and you're listening to the New Heights Educational Group, the New Heights Show on Education. And this evening's topic is expanding financial literacy in the K-12 area. And we were just discussing the primary predictors of teachers feeling comfortable in teaching the offering of personal finance as it relates to the K-12 area. And usually it's because the educator has actually taken a personal finance course in college and they feel competent in that area, and they feel like they have the ability to be able to teach students about financial responsibility, decision making, saving, investing, and also risk management and maybe even insurance within that financial literacy program. And it's also thought that, that most states are introducing, standards and also surveying whether or not the teachers feel comfortable in providing these standards to the students within the classroom and within the financial education standards that are required and provided by each respective state. And so as teachers address the learner's needs in financial education, also the administrators are charged with employing instructional strategies or designing curriculum that is collaborative, where teachers also partner with local financial services institutions within their community, would be a very positive way to strategize in providing that financial education. And there are key things that have to be actually addressed within that. And so it could be as simple as checking and balancing your checkbook, or understanding the terms that come along with that in the K through 12 areas. And teachers are usually open to a variety of those different methods, especially, as the literature quotes, if they have actually taken a course within that. But then there's also the flip side to that 75% of the current teachers say that they feel positive about being able to participate in that type of program. But the surveys, as you may know, are sometimes limited in the data that they actually pull from the teachers. So we're not quite sure, because financial literacy is expanding at a greater rate, how over, I guess, each state, how the teachers overall think about the K through 12 providing financial literacy and the comfortability level of the teachers, and whether or not the resources are accessible, and even if these teachers are interested in continuing on with doing that, for focusing on the future importance of how this new curriculum focuses on, the cost and the financial benefits of going to college, even in debt, which we know that college debt is rising in the U.S., and also credit and planning and saving, and how those things impact a student's future. And then if you're looking at students who traditionally are not able to take advantage of these programs, being able to provide that within the school system offers the student definitely an advantage if they take advantage of that. And so they get an opportunity to look at teachers, existing curriculums and discuss the factors that are important for their students. So, even we talked about investing. And so there's a program called Discovery Education Streaming, where the teachers have access to financial courses and worksheets, and financial literacy information that is straightforward, so that the teachers can utilize that as a tool so that students can actually balance checkbooks and have an actual income, and actually talk through, any questions that they may be having regarding the financial literacy area and financial literacy education. And the Brookings Institute provided a really great study that was done most recently in October of 2018 regarding the recommendations for improving youth financial literacy within education. And they go quite in depth about early financial education, even as early as, in the elementary school level, and then preparatory learning and parental involvement, teacher training, and where teacher training needs to go. And also it looks at some of the racial and social economic disparities and statuses, and even gender gaps as it relates to financial literacy. And of course, providing some type of evaluation tool. And this study was also able to be conducted by the Brookings Institute, because they received a donation from Fidelity Investments. And so overall, they're looking at, within this particular body of research, financial literacy education efforts, and they note that there are, some clear patterns that are associated with it, overall low levels of financial literacy among American youth. And there's a high number of students that are unprepared to navigate many financial decisions that they may encounter over a lifetime. And so another thing that they found was that there's significant room for improvement, as we all know. And there are a number of students who are currently underserved as it regards to in regards to financial education and course programs. And then the other thing that they found is that there is a lot that we don't know about how to best facilitate financial literacy, and recommendations on how do we conceptualize the purpose of financial literacy and all its complexities, and just composing multiple elements to be able to develop and interact with one another over time, and have students given a framework of goals that they need to actually look for, and something that is designed in a way that is effective for financial literacy and allows them to build on that literacy as they grow and as they go through high school. And so they want to, of course, in the elementary level, create a foundational skill, a foundational knowledge of things that are not typically received in financial education. And they say that generally programs don't really start teaching it until the 11th or 12th grade. And the study shows that they think it could be implemented as early as elementary school, just using practical tips with that foundational skill. And then going into the core concepts and skills and knowledge related to financial literacy. And so as we look at lifelong financial preferences and attitudes and behaviors, and how families and friends actually are teaching or not teaching their children about these conceptual financial literacy concepts within the home, just looking at the behaviors of people and maybe starting it as early as the elementary school and showing what the benefit of that could be over the long term if you help build a child's self-confidence and awareness about financial literacy and also the income that it takes in order to actually be able to have a sustainable living or a living wage within the country in which they live and how they can manage that money and also look at credit problems of poor self-control, and so maybe they could curb that poor self-control as the student matriculates through the grade levels. And if we start at an earlier age, by the time they get to the 11th and 12th grade, they will have mastered the understanding of financial literacy and all the components that go along with that, and also been able to utilize some of the exercises that are embedded within the curriculum to make them more knowledgeable and have the skills necessary to kind of move along a positive influence as it relates to financial literacy. And then also with the parental component, bringing in the parents so that not only are the children receiving this information, but the parents are, and it gives examples of, programs that offer, additional aid to parents if they were to start, thinking about these financial literacy programs a little bit earlier. One is called Bank at School, and then School Savings, and then Savings for America. And there's another one that is named I Can Save. And so there are a number of different programs out there that teach about budgeting and saving and banking. So parents, if you're out there and you're listening, there are piggy bank programs. I know that there are a lot of banks. If you start opening up your child's account really early, they'll allow them to get a prize every time they make a deposit. And so those are things that you can do to encourage your child to be interested in saving more. And also the literature says that if teachers were to take field trips outside, they could go to the Federal Reserve Bank, or they could go to the local bank and take field trips outside of the classroom and have games and activity that stimulate or that simulate money or financial management games, that could also be keys and ways to success along their curriculum to develop better financial habits. And so again, we're talking about expanding financial literacy in the K through 12 area, and I know that that's a lot of information to maybe digest if you haven't been thinking about financial literacy as it relates to K through 12. I know that some schools just basically have the basic courses like basic personal finance. How do you manage your checkbook, deposits, credits, and those type things. So the sooner you can get your child acclimated to these things, the literature states, the better off they will be in the long run. And so we notice it's going to be a part of the K through 12 curriculum. Financial behaviors in early childhood, we know, can help facilitate with debt management earlier on, if we educate them on the do's and don'ts at a sooner at an earlier time than we have been in the past. And so the literature and our legislators are looking at the behaviors as it relates to financial literacy and our children, and the long-term financial benefits of educating our children in early development, and also having positive ways of teaching financial positive behaviors for our children. And so I hope that you gain some additional information regarding financial literacy and expanding financial literacy within the K through 12 area. And again, I want to thank you for joining me on tonight's show.
We hope that you join us next week.